Welcome to the next episode, which is episode 4 of MSF Weekly. So in the last couple of videos, you've seen that I was working on the cattle lorry, which is now completely finished. It's Tuesday today, so yesterday I was kind of cleaning up the workshop and I finished off making the gates for the back of the truck. And here are some pictures of how that turned out. Now that that's all done, we are straight back into the truck that's right behind me. It's a hot box for carrying tar, and there's quite a bit of work to do with this. So let's take a walk around it and I'll show you what I'll be doing. So I briefly went through all this in the last video anyway, but we'll go through it again quickly. All of the platform there is being sandblasted and painted. Along with all of the hot box, it has to be sandblasted and painted. Now there is a lot of tear still on it that I need to try and get off first, because it will make it a lot more difficult to sandblast in some areas. And there are a lot of small parts as well, like these boxes down here, these tool chests, and then around the back there are some levers and electrical components that we're going to have to be careful with. We will probably take that sign off the back of it so we can paint behind it. Then on the driver's side again, we have these toolboxes. I'm nearly sure they lift off. So yeah, we'll be able to unbolt them in here and take all of that off. And then if we walk around to the front of the hot box, this is the only area that there's kind of rust repairs. So you see here, there's rust here, rust here, rust here. So today I'm probably going to cut that out and try and get the new plates welded in, and then tomorrow we'll solely focus on setting up the new sandblaster to give it a lash, see what it's like. Hopefully it's good. And also I need to start the compressor, which is outside now. It hasn't been started in a while, so we might have to play around with that this evening just to make sure it's working okay. So no time like the present to get the grinder out, get set up and start cutting out this rust. So that's pretty much the rust repairs done on the hot box. So tomorrow is solely focused on removing the tear off all of the truck and then sandblasting. So tomorrow is going to be a busy day. But it's late evening now and I got a few jobs to do outside of work. So time to call it a day. Okay guys, so it's Wednesday morning. And yes, it's a cold one. As you can see, I'm fairly wrapped up here. A lot to be said for working in an office. But hey, I wouldn't be happy. So, back to the truck. As you seen yesterday, we got all of the rust repairs done. So today it's focused on stripping it down, removing all of the tear that's still caked all over it, which is going to be a nightmare, and then sandblasting. So first job I'm going to do is take off these toolboxes because I want to paint behind them and paint the back of the toolboxes. So there's one on this side, and then if we go around to the driver's side, there's also one pretty long one on this side. Probably a bit of weight in that too, so I need to get that off. After that, we're going to remove as much wiring as lights as possible, more so from the front of the hot box up there, kind of. So we'll get all them off, then I'm going to spray it all down with tear remover again and leave it sit for a while. And while that's doing its thing, we will get the diesel compressor running outside and set up the sandblaster. Right, so these are pretty easy to remove. There are 2 bolts under here and 2 bolts under here, and there are 4 bolts inside of here. So pretty simple. The only thing is there might be a bit of weight in them, so we'll probably lift them off with the forklift afterwards. Okay, so now we have the lorry outside. I have the toolboxes taken off it, and I have it covered in tear remover because in places there is some heavy tear still on it, and I know I'm going sandblasting it anyway, but I want to get the big chunks of it off now first. So I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes just with the scraper, taking off the heavy stuff. Then we will try and set up the compressor outside the door, make sure that's working, and then set up the sandblaster. So all going good so far. And I just had a car in for NCT failure repairs, so I've ordered the parts for that, and tomorrow we're going to fix that. So plenty to do and not enough hours in the day to do it, but let's keep going. Okay, so the compressor, I put a new battery into it, tried to start it, wouldn't start. Then went over, opened the injectors, or the top of the injectors, to see was there fuel coming through. When it was turning over, there was. Still wouldn't start. So decided to look into the fuel tank, which I probably should have done first, but take a look at this. Probably shouldn't have spilt that there, but you get the idea. Not the best looking diesel in the world. So I have the tank out now. I'm going to dispose of that old fuel properly and go and get some new fuel, clean the tank, put it in, put it all back together, and it should start up no problem. And then we'll be able to hook up the sandblaster, which most likely will be tomorrow now, but I'm going to come in really early and get a good day at it. So I'm going to put away the tools there, go out and then go out and spend the next hour or so cleaning off the tar and the tar remover that I put on today. And by the time that's done, it should be nearly home time. So another day nearly over. Okay guys, so the compressor is alive at last. It lives for another day and it's running pretty good now, to be fair. I had to change the old fuel out for new fuel, clean out the tank, and also one of the spring injector pumps was stuck, so I took that out, freed that up, put it back in, and first tip of the key, it started up. So that's set, I'm ready to go. For the first half of today, I was working on the truck that's outside with the hot box, and I didn't really record anything because, to be honest, I was there with a hammer and chisel trying to break off some of the big lumps of tar, and I really wasn't getting that far. So the customer that owns the truck kindly said he's going to take it back tomorrow and remove all of the heavy clumps of tar first, so that when it comes back to me, all I got to do is just sandblast it and then paint it. The sandblaster, as you can see behind me, it is now fully set up, ready to go. I rang the company that makes them and got a user manual off it, just so I could go through everything myself, so I'm sure that I'm using it properly and I know what it's able to handle pressure wise and all that type of stuff. And then behind me, which I've been working on for the last hour or two, is an Audi A4 that I have in for NCT failure repairs. So all that work is now done and recorded, so I'm going to play them clips now.
Legend status, ask about the name. I've been putting in work, collecting the fame. Up in the stat while they watching the 10 in the game. Either you in it or just a critic, man, we ain't the same. I'm focused on making this history. Into my top 5 list is listing me. I never got an add-on pass, this ain't no breeze. I had to make the work outlast the bill of steam. It's different degrees, and know I do this here with the ease. It never been easy, slim, just keep one up the sleeve. I saw a few that had the passion, see I'm the degree, but I keep forward here. The goal is near the song. It's more for ears that know what's still to come. I walked inside the fire, no weapon form. They looked inside the eye, withstood the storm, but I know temptation waits for years and all. It's a lot of money on the line for this. If we get everybody jumping in the crowd, my partner said he probably put somebody in the ground for this. We used to talk about it, but I hear it now. Now I need $100,000 for my confidence. $100,000 for my confidence. Look, everybody got prices and other vices. I took a chance through the dices and got a nice hit. Was on the clock with security running the night shift. And then I got a DM or some change in life. Then I wait for it and then I pray for it. I just be hoping it ain't tain't what I paid for it. They say you never be as pure as your first form. And sights never be as clear as you first saw them. That's why I'm elevating and constantly meditating. Gotta keep my mind right, not waiting on hindsight. I never sacrificed the art for the limelight. Ain't no surround with who only show the highlights. I spent 20-some years in the twilight, and I swear look a whole lot like the spotlight. Really, it's a lot of money on the line for this. If we get everybody jumping in the crowd, my partner said he probably put somebody in the ground for this. We used to talk about it, but I leave it now. Now I need $100,000 for my confidence. $100,000 for my confidence.
So all that's left to do with the Audi is to level the dip beams because one of them is a bit high, but it's now about 8 o'clock on Thursday evening and I'm ready to go home. So I'm going to call it a day and resume here tomorrow. It's the next day, very busy day now. I have the Audi finished and the dip beams reset in it, so that's going to go for its retest in the MCT centre. And behind me is my girlfriend's Range Rover. Had a little bit of work to do on that and that's done. Next up behind me we have this Citroen C3 in for a service, so we're going to get that done next. So I've got to move the Range Rover out, pull the Citroen in, get that done, and then we've got vans, lorries, more trailers queuing up outside for painting, for work, for cleaning. So a lot to do, gotta get to work. Right, so the little Citroen here beside me is going to get new long life plugs, new oil filter, new air filter and new fuel filter. So just your basic maintenance that every car should get. First off, I'm going to move the coil pack from on top of the plugs. And because it's a 3-cylinder engine, there are only 3 plugs. To do this, it's easier to remove the entire air filter box. Okay, now we got to reset the service light. So to do this, we're going to press and hold the spanner button. Then we're going to turn on the ignition and hold it for 10 seconds. You have a countdown here on the dial. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it off. And it's fully reset. Okay, so that's the Citroen service. Now we're on to this Mercedes work truck, and we are fitting these strobe warning lights or LED lights to the front of the truck, and we have to replace a couple of bulbs on the back of the truck. Fairly simple work, should take about an hour to do it all. And it's worth noting that this truck is 24 volt, it's got 2 batteries. So when buying lights, bulbs, etc., you got to make sure they're 24 volt. Otherwise, if you put in the 12 volt ones, they'll just blow or they won't work. So a little tip. Right, so we're replacing these 2 front LED flashers because this one isn't working, and they're also amber and the customer wants red and white flashers instead. Okay, so that's this truck done for today, and now I'm going to give the truck back to the client and move on to the next job. Okay guys, so it is Saturday evening. I've done a tidy up of the workshop, and I think this is where this video ends. So it's been another week here in the unit. Some ups, some downs. Didn't quite get as much as I wanted done this week, but look, that's how it goes sometimes. But next week is going to be a better week. It's obviously a bank holiday weekend, so we no work here on Monday. But we may be here tomorrow to clean a few vans for a client. We'll see. So, thanks very much for watching this video. As always, if you enjoyed it, please give us a like. Please subscribe. And we'll catch you in the next one.